Good day to everyone. Our topic for today will be the last topic for the pharmacology is on the cardiovascular and the respiratory drugs. Last time we ended up with the discussion on the drugs related to pregnancy and lactation, drugs during delivery, and drugs during labor and delivery. So we have already completed those topics, and now we are going to discuss the topics on the medical surgical, which are the drugs that affects the heart and the respiratory system. So eventually, most of the cardiovascular drugs are are considered for when it comes to its prescription on some of the identified individuals who have been diagnosed for the maintenance, and some drugs that will be discussed are during the emergency situations. So let's start with the drug classification. Those learning resource materials are already available in our NEO LMS on the week 5 and 6. So our discussion for this afternoon will focus on the summary of drug classification, its mechanism of action, and drug example. The concept of medication suffixes will be also applied in our discussion for the cardiovascular drugs and respiratory drugs for us to be more to grasp easily the classification or the drug sample based from the classifications. So let's start with letter A, inotropic drugs. If we're talking about inotropic, this is certainly defined and referred as a medical term on the muscle contractility of the heart. Actually, there are three terms that are associated with the drugs: inotropic, dromotropic, and chronotropic. If we're talking about inotropic drugs, these are drugs that may stimulate or inhibit cardiac muscle contractility. Dromotropic are those drugs that are related to control on the electrical impulse or AB conduction activity of the heart. And if we're talking about chronotropic, these are drugs that may stimulate or inhibit heart rate. So the one that we are talking about for our discussion today is on the inotropic drugs. Drugs that will certainly stimulate contractility of the heart. So first, we have cardiac glycoside. Cardiac glycosides are drugs that may not just only consider increase or simulation of cardiac cardiac muscle contractility, but basically it may also consider the activation of adenosine triphosphate. So what is the purpose of activation of adenosine triphosphate? The activation po ng adenosine triphosphate is very essential for the function of the cells, particularly to stimulate the electrical impulse for contractility. Thus, the calcium is also very important for the dilation of the cardiac vascular system or the blood vessels. So, usually, cardiac glycosides are being administered if the heart already reached the complication of its enlargement, and if it already identified complications of the kidneys. Usually, when there is an existence of the or occurrence rather of hypertension, the one that basically regulate is are rather the kidneys, and this will balance to prevent as a compensation hypertension or hypotension. So whenever an individual experiences hypertension, the kidneys are the ones that regulate it and control specifically to manage the problem with hypertension. However, if these are not managed and facilitated by the kidneys, then there will be two manifestations. It could be a hypertension on kidney dysfunctions, which may reflect specifically on identified through the output monitoring on excretion of urine. So one of the example of cardiac glycosides is digoxin, the very common digoxin. However, it is very important to consider if the patient already verbalize the visual effect of seeing yellowish spots. Yellowish spots are evidence of digitalis toxicity. So digoxin is digitalis. So and usually digoxin or digitalis is, that's why it's considered also as digitalis, because the source is digitalis plant. Now, when digoxin had been administered to the patient, and if the patient verbalize the toxic signs of seeing yellowish spots because it mainly affect the optic nerve, then you need to process or prepare the antidote. The antidote, as we mentioned, counteract the toxic effect of the drug. So what is the antidote for digoxin or digitalis toxicity? We have the digoxin immune fab. Okay, whenever you will manage individuals who have already congestive heart failure, meaning enlargement of the heart and congestion itself cause decreased cardiac output, usually digoxin is the one that will be administered if it already affect basically urine output. So there are two evidences there that are identified. If there is decrease in the urine output and continuous hypertension, it means the two organs are not compensated with each other. So digoxin are being administered. Another drug that will facilitate stimulation of contractility is the phosphodiesterase inhibitor. So from the term itself, inhibitor, the phosphodiesterase are inhibited so that it will definitely decrease vascular resistance. Usually, if there is hypertension, there is vascular resistance that will inhibit the blood flow. Thus, if it will inhibit the blood flow, it will deprive oxygenation to the cardiac muscle cells. And if there will be decrease in the oxygenation in the cardiac muscle cells, the cardiac cells may not stimulate electrical impulse to facilitate contractility. So other than that, as what I have mentioned, inotropic drugs basically considered to increase myocardial contractility. So let's have a review. Inotropic is on the contractility, dromotropic is on the electrical impulse, and chronotropic is referring to heart rate. That's why if you will encounter drugs such as positive inotropic drugs, meaning drugs that may stimulate contractility. Positive chronotropic drugs, these are drugs that will stimulate AB conduction impulses. And if you will encounter positive chronotropic drugs, these are drugs that will stimulate heart contraction. On the other hand, if you will encounter negative dromotropic drugs, rather negative inotropic drugs, these are drugs that will inhibit contractility or cardiac contractility. Negative dromotropic, it decreases impulse, electrical impulse transmission, and if it is a negative chronotropic, to decrease the cardiac rate. Now, on the phosphodiesterase, the medication suffixes that possibly that you may encounter are those drugs ending in renone. Okay. Usually, when these are the common drugs, take note of this because usually it appears in the nurse licensure examination or foreign nurse licensure examination. Renones are drugs that are being used for treatment of short-term heart failure, and for long-term it's when the patient undergone heart transplant. Again, renones as phosphodiesterase inhibitors are drugs that are being used for short-term sa heart failure, and long-term for heart transplant. Again, if there are questions that you will address, uh, and some of the clarifications in the lessons that are being presented, you may raise your hand, unmute yourselves, or you may use the chat box to post your questions. Next, let us now proceed to antihypertensive drugs. So on the antihypertensive drugs, we have number 3 and number 4. These are the number 3, centrally acting adrenergic inhibitors. If we say centrally acting adrenergic inhibitors, from the term itself, centralize, the drug will directly act to the heart. Okay, will directly act to the heart. Unlike the digoxin, we have identified two major organs to regulate the blood pressure. But for the centrally acting adrenergic inhibitors, these are the drugs that are usually being given during emergency situations. During emergency situations, when uh, the blood pressure reach 160 over 100. Okay? But again, the mechanism of action of this drug is certainly acted po ito sa blood vessels. Kasi usually, ang stimulation of alpha receptors, ang purpose, kasi from the term itself, receptors is impulse, okay? Stimulation of impulse transmission. Ano po ba ang ginagawa ng alpha receptors? Ang ginagawa po ng alpha receptors in the central nervous system is it will continue to sustain and improve circulating blood flow. Tapos at the same time, it will reduce po yung blood vessel resistance, thus may continuously process po yung flow of the blood. So what are those drugs? This is these are two drug examples of centrally acting adrenergic drugs, and usually these are drugs that are being administered under the tongue. And why under the tongue? Because we have discussed that even given sublingually, these drugs can be absorbed because under the tongue are highly it's rich in the blood vessels, and it may already promote absorption. So those drugs are clonidine and methyldopa. Now, clonidine are very common drugs. Pag nag-reach talaga yan ng 160 over 100, these are drugs that are usually being given during emergency situations. Now, with the nursing responsibilities, you need to take into consideration that you may expect that it may darken urine. Ibig sabihin, these are the metabolic products of the drug. And usually, these drugs, once given, there's a need to have bed rest, or usually these are given at bedtime to prevent orthostatic hypotension. What do we mean by orthostatic hypotension? Any change in the position, any sudden change in the position that will cause dropping of the blood pressure. Okay, that's orthostatic hypotension. Next, let us now proceed to peripherally acting adrenergic inhibitors. So, sa peripherally acting adrenergic inhibitors, we are now considering mga peripheral blood vessels. So, usually, ang ginagawa po nito is the 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 peripheral nerve endings are being stimulated to decrease the sympathetic vasoconstriction. So usually pag hypertension talaga, it causes resistance in the blood vessel. So yun yung point. It's peripheral blood vessels and prevention of the constriction. Those drugs naman are drugs ending in zosine. So ito yung mga prazosin, metazosine, so zosine. So medication suffix of zosine. Very important po, very important that when you are administering zosine, it must not simultaneously given with clonidine. Bakit? Kasi once sozins are given simultaneously with clonidine, dinidecrease niya yung anti-hypertensive effect ni clonidine. So it must be given in a different pacing or time. So clear? So we have already discussed the first one, which is the inotropic drugs. And now we are discussing the anti-hypertensive drugs. To review, the use of the centrally acting adrenergic inhibitors, it is very important also to be updated with the classification of hypertension. So in the classification of hypertension, according to Joint National Commission or JNC7, usually when you are being asked of the normal blood pressure, you will always respond it's 120 over 80. However, the normal must be below 120 systolic BP and below 80 uh, diastolic BP. Because once you have already revealed the blood pressure and recorded the blood pressure of 120 over 80, it's already a pre-hypertension. Okay? The normal is 120 below and 80 below. The pre-hypertension is 120 to 139, which is systolic BP, and 80 to 89 of diastolic blood pressure. Now, when is the time that you can already identify stage 1 and stage 2 hypertension? In the stage 1 hypertension, if the blood pressure or the systolic blood pressure is 150 over 150 to 159, and if it is uh diastolic blood pressure of 90 to 99. So 150. So pag nag 140 na yan, ang systolic BP and diastolic BP, it's stage 1. Questions are, sir, paano po if the blood pressure is 140 over 80? Kung you always refer on you always refer on the systolic blood pressure. Okay? So doon tayo magpa-prioritize. Because usually pressure are created during contractility and ventricular contraction. So pag stage 2 na, if it is 160 above, it's already stage 2, and pag diastolic BP niya ay 100 and above. So if you will notice, these are the terms that are being used for hypertension classification. That's why if you will be asked, if it is according to JNC7, it's below 120, it's below 80 po ang normal. Pag 120 na po, it's already pre-hypertension. So, you must also take into consideration the history. Now, let us proceed with the continuation of our anti-hypertensive drugs. Actually, I have already presented this during our discussion, specifically those who are already identified po yung adverse reactions. So, number 5, we have ACE inhibitor. If we say ACE inhibitor, angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor. So, from the term itself, inhibit. Ano yung ini-inhibit dito? What is inhibiting here is the enzyme. And that enzyme comes from the lungs. Ganito po yung nangyayari dyan. When the kidneys are responding po to the heart, it will release epinephrine. Upon release of the epinephrine, renin will secrete. Once the renin will be secreted, here the lungs will release enzyme. So supposedly it will be on the stage lang ng renin, but the lungs will trigger the release of the enzyme that will convert the renin to angiotensin. Okay. So what could be the effect once the renin will be converted sa angiotensin? Pag na-convert po yan sa angiotensin, what will happen po is the blood vessel, the renal blood vessel will cause its constriction. Okay. So what could be the result if there will be constriction of the blood vessels of the kidney? It will basically alter the renal perfusion, thus may affect also the response of the kidney to regulate the blood pressure. So that's the point. it will still continue. Yun yung effect. It will still continue to release this epinephrine. Renin will be secreted, but ang pine-prevent kasi nito is once the renin will reach angiotensin. Pag nag-reach na po yan sa angiotensin, how can you conclude it? If you don't have any diagnostic examination, it's usually the monitoring is with the urine output. If there will be a decrease in the urine output po per hour, that will be a significant findings that your patient is already experiencing a conversion na in the angiotensin. Ibig sabihin, kasi pag active ang regulation ng blood pressure through the kidneys, basically the result is i-increase niya yung glomerulofiltrate rate. And if it will increase the glomerulofiltrate rate, it will manifest in the diuresis. Pag sinabi nating diuresis, the diuresis will cause the excretion of urine. If there will be a disruption in the excretion of the urine output, that is very significant. That's why very important po to be part of your responsibilities as nurses once a person or individuals are being admitted, or you just have known individuals who are hypertensive, urine output are very significant because that is an evidence that your kidney are still regulating the blood pressure. If more so, if there will be an effect on the decrease of the urine output, those are the evidence by which it already alter at yung renin had been converted to angiotensin 1. So yun yung pine-prevent natin. Okay? Now, angiotensin 1 are already evident or inexistent kung meron ng effect sa urine output. So those drugs are ending in pril, at most importantly, the nurse must indicate in their health education, lalo na when you administer those pril, ano yung mga pril natin, captopril, enalapril, uh, isinopril. These are drugs that will certainly consider po yung prevention ng renin to angiotensin 1. Now, it is very important you can administer. Sabi natin, di ba, whenever we will consider administration of drugs on an empty stomach, our best response is certainly on the effective absorption. If we're considering the effective absorption, that will be administration of captopril 1 hour before meal. Okay? So that will be scheduled accordingly. So once you administer the drug, then mention to the patient that after an hour, you can already consider and advise the patient to take his meal so that it will facilitate the pacing or the period of time that the patient will absorb the drug, and then followed by the meal so that it may not cause irritation of the gastric mucosa. Now, you need also to monitor the patient taking captopril with proteinuria. Remember, if you have remembered the discussion that we have in gestational hypertension, na pagka may proteinuria, gestational hypertension ang tawag doon. At what I mean is gestational hypertension kung walang proteinuria, at pag may proteinuria na siya, eclampsia. So, similar also on the situation naman, pag ang non-pregnant is experiencing hypertension, tapos may proteinuria, class, be alarmed with this kasi ang next na papacheck ninyo ay kidney function. So malaki talaga ang connection ng function ng kidneys when regulating blood pressure. So next po. So kung halimbawa na meron na siya lang evidence na ang urine output ay decrease, tapos continuously it facilitate, or rather it consider na po yung continuous increase ng continuous increase of the blood pressure. So ang concern natin dito is on the perspective that we need to control na the conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2. Kasi ano na yung effect? The effect of the angiotensin 1 is certainly may constriction na sa blood vessels ng kidneys. So, ang prevent natin is totally mag-cause ng constriction kasi yun na yung for almost 12 hours walang urine output. And that is significant na ang kidneys are failing to respond to regulate blood pressure. So eventually, pag kami angiotensin 1 na siya, ang pine-prevent natin ma-convert siya sa angiotensin 2. So yung PRIL papalitan na ng angiotensin 2 receptor agent or angiotensin 2 blocking agents, magiging sartan na siya. So yung mga telmisartan, irbesartan, losartan, eto na yon. So ibig sabihin, ang minamanage na natin dito ay kidneys and the heart. Sa angiotensin sa ACE inhibitor, meron pang response, ang wala pang effect, yung kidney can still regulate, pero the heart is affected na by the hypertension. Okay? So significantly, with this perspective po, dapat alam po natin ito. At pagka ito po ay na-monitor na natin, then we need to refer it to the attending physician. Next, we have the calcium channel blockers. Okay, for the calcium channel blockers, ito yung mga drugs that we have discussed before, that drugs ending in dipine. Okay, so yung mga nifedipine, felodipine, amlodipine. So na-explain ko naman ito before na pagka may problem ang blood vessels or damage, eventually ano yung nangyayari, ang nangyayari is to prevent po yung continuous pressure sa blood vessels, ang calcium po will facilitate specifically to dilate, to continuously dilate the blood vessels and promote blood flow. Ngayon, bakit siya kailangan i-block yung calcium? We need to block the calcium certainly because pwedeng mag-decalcify. And pag we mention if we mention about decalcification, it will harden the blood vessel and that may trigger a complication. So you need to consider po that if the blood pressure is less than 90 and the heart rate is less than 60, withhold the drug. Okay? So these are drugs na dipines, verapamil, dalawa lang yung hindi included na dipine, verapamil at saka diltiazem. Next po. Next is on the diuretics. Sa diuretics naman po, class, ito naman po ay pagka may evidence of may fluid sa lungs, may enlargement of the heart, ibig sabihin full of fluids ang heart, may retention of fluid sa body. What are those signs ng may retention ng fluid sa body? If there's ascites, pag sinabi natin ascites, those fluids are retained in the abdominal cavity. Lumabas na siya sa enlarged organs. It already shifted out from the blood vessels. Nagpunta na siya sa interstitial space. So lumalaki yung tiyan, ascites, and other than that, by gravitational pull, it already manifests as pitting edema, or in Tagalog, colloquially, it is termed as manas. So usually it appeared po yan sa pedal, sa paa. So what could be the portion? So ang purpose po ng diuretics is ini-inhibit natin ang sodium and chloride reabsorption. Kasi alam naman natin that the sodium definitely attracts water. So ang nangyayari diyan, since hindi yan it's not excreted by the body, nare-reabsorb. So nag-a-attract siya ng water lalo at nagko-cause lalo ng pressure from the intravascular at nag-shift siya into interstitial spaces. So these are the most of the, since i-stimulate itong diuretics ng pag-ihi at ang tendency mas higher yung fluid volume na excreted by the body, high risk po ang pasyente of hypokalemia. So, ang hypokalemia is decreased potassium level. Ang pwede pong maging effect ng decreased blood vessels po, decreased potassium level ay decreased muscle contractility. Magkaiba pong effect sa cardiac muscle at different pong effect sa heart muscle. Ang effect po ng decreased potassium po sa heart muscle po ay decrease. Okay? Pag mababa naman po ang potassium, ang effect naman nito sa skeletal muscle ay contraction. So magkokosto ng tension. So yung mga nagko-cause ng stiffness, muscle stiffness, yung feeling ninyo that kayo ay pinupulikat ng todo, yung very severe yung sprain, yun muscle strain yon, check already the potassium ha. Kung bumababa naman ang contractility at evidence yan by heart rate, ipacheck po ang level of potassium. And those drugs that are identified are those drugs ending in MIDE and ending in thiazides. Now, the next drug that we are talking about are anti-anginal drugs. Ano yung mga anti-anginal drugs? Ang anti-anginal drugs po, from the term itself, angina, is chest pain. Remember po na ang chest pain usually occurred po yan pagka decrease po ang oxygen supply sa cardiac muscle cells. So usually from the term itself, nitrates, ang purpose nito ay dilation. Ida-dilate niya. These are vasodilators. At common itong drugs na ito, and for emergency situations, nitrates are being given or nitroglycerins. So pag nitrate, ang isosorbide isosorbide mononitrate, and we have the isosorbide dinitrate. Yung usually na binibigay dyan ay yung Isordil. These are the drugs to manage chest pain. Every 5 minutes, pag hindi nawawala yung chest pain, binibigay yan every 5 minutes for a maximum of 3 doses. So ibig sabihin 15 minutes natin chinecheck. For beyond 15 minutes po, class will already completed the dose of nitrates and nitroglycerins. Ibig sabihin na hindi na ito oxygen insufficiency. Ito na po ay heart attack na. Pag beyond 15 minutes na po yung time. On the perspective of the very important po that to take into consideration is pag ang patient po ay nagtitake ng nitrates or nitroglycerins, you need to advise the client to avoid alcohol beverages kasi kina-counteract niya yung absorption. And usually you need to seek the medical attention as what I have mentioned. Kung naka 3 doses na every 5 minutes, pag beyond 15 minutes na, medical help na yan kasi myocardial infarction na yan. Anytime pag nag-myocardial infarction, ang complication na niyan arrhythmias, cardiac rhythm. Kaya pwedeng mag-cardiac arrest na yung pasyente. So the last drug in our cardiovascular drug are very common that I have discussed to you ay olols. Yung mga olols po ay ang purpose nito ay beta blocker. So binablock yung beta 2 receptors para po mag-decrease yung workload of the heart. So in this situation, ang mga olols po, metoprolol, atenolol. So these are the drugs that are identified. So you need to observe the patient po. Careful tayo sa mga nagbibigay po sa may diabetes. Kailangan i-monitor ang blood sugar because basically posibleng biglang bagsak ng blood sugar at magka-hypoglycemic shock. And you will need to also to monitor na pagka ang kanyang, dahil nga ini-slow niya yung heart rate, pagka less than 50 na ang pulse rate, ay you need to withhold the drug. Because it will cause the possibility na mag-continuously mag-deteriorate yung decrease in the heart rate at mag-lead sa bradycardia and soon pwedeng mag-cardiac arrest ang pasyente. Okay? So, next po is we will discuss about those drugs that basically identified po sa cholesterol. Kaya ang tawag dyan, anti-lipemic drugs. So ano-ano tong mga drugs na to? Very common naman itong 11, 12 and the other one na ang kinokontrol nito ay cholesterol. So pag nakadinig kayo ng cholestyramine, cholestyramine, so bile acid sequestrants at pyruvic acid derivatives po, fenofibrate, gemfibrocil, niacin. So these are the common po na ang drugs po, common drugs ito sa breakdown ng low density lipoprotein. At ito yung ina-identify natin na mga bad cholesterol. So yung statin, I know you are familiar with this, na aware po tayo na pwede po ito teratogenic, hepatotoxic. Yung mga statins po are very common na HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors. So most of the patients who are taking this drug are advised to rest and avoid alcohol intake kasi nga restrict alcohol intake because this will cause the possibility na makaapekto ito sa liver function. So we have already completed na po the discussion of the cardiovascular drugs until anti-lipemic. Since we have the less than 1 minute, we will register again to continue naman po with respiratory drugs. So I'll just